Hey! Hello everybody, how's it going? I rarely ever film in this room, so this feels a little bit weird, but the lighting is so perfectly cloudy today that I'm like, let's utilize it. Also last night I went out for Halloween, so I'm like down on the energy level, so I just kind of want to be zen and I want to chill out. So I posted on Instagram asking if you guys want any advice or if you want some of my thoughts around deeper questions, I guess. So I picked a bunch of those out and I'm just gonna be chill and we're gonna chat and we're gonna hopefully get a little bit deep today in this moment. Before I begin, I do want to remind you guys that tomorrow is November 6th. In America, this might be a date that you have heard buzzing around for the past few months now. November 6th is the day that we are voting for the midterms, so if you are above 18 and you live in the United States, please go vote. Voting is very important. If you want certain changes to be made, you need to exercise that right. Go make sure your parents are voting. Go make sure your friends are voting. Just make sure everyone around you is voting. I've already asked my parents and my friends and my siblings like a billion times, just confirming that they're voting. And that shit really helps. It really helps to remind people and to hold them accountable, because it's easy to forget and it's easy to put it off like it's nothing, and it's easy to convince yourself your vote doesn't matter, but it does. Okay, that's my spiel. I would have felt bad if I didn't say that, so let's begin the video. How do you stay organized? I am a very organized person. I've always been really good at keeping to a schedule. What really helps me is to write everything down. Write everything down the night before or the morning of your day. And throughout your day, check everything off. For me, it's not about making this big list of important things. It's about adding the little things in there too, so it feels like I'm making big moves in my day and I'm accomplishing a lot. And usually I end up picking like a really cute emoji to signify the check mark of me completing something on the list. So, you know, it makes the day great. Advice for coming out to a non-homophobic but very Republican mom. I obviously don't know your situation and every situation is different. So first of all, make sure you're safe to come out to your parents or coming out to anybody. Just make sure you're safe. Your safety is very important. But if your parents aren't homophobic but they're just more conservative, bring it up. Try and talk about it. I know that's very scary, but try to get your parents to communicate with you on a very emotional level. Because I'm guessing your parents love you and I'm guessing they're very empathetic towards you. So just be real with them. Like have a real conversation that it stresses you out to tell them, that you were scared to tell your parents something, because I think them hearing that is really going to break their heart. I think if your parents love you, it's going to be really hard for them to hear that you couldn't tell them something. So just be as real as you can, be as honest as you can, and be as open as you can. And good luck. Do you have a favorite picture that you have taken? If so, what is it? The answer in short is that I don't. I'm so bad at picking favorites for literally everything. But I will say there's one photo that I took on my trip to Lisbon, Portugal, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I walked around my house just showing it to my parents and showing it to my sister and my brother, being like, look at this photo that I got. Because I really enjoy taking candid photos, so if something just accidentally turns out like I thought it could turn out, it just makes me so happy. It makes me so giddy. So this is the photo that I took. It's a little bit sad because it was in kind of a cemetery area, so no disrespect to that. But there was just this moment of this woman walking by wearing all black, and she contrasted from kind of all the white stone in the background, and it just like painted this really heartbreaking picture to me of her being there alone visiting someone, being old herself. I don't know, it just like, the picture to me tells like a really deep story, and I really like the photo. Do you have any forms of anxiety? General social anxiety? If so, how do you overcome it? In short, yes. As much as I'm a very social person and what I do is quite social and my job requires me to be around a lot of people, I get very anxious in social situations. I get super anxious going to events where I don't know if I'm going to know everyone there, or if I'm going by myself or with just like one other person. I get really anxious going out into big crowds. I get anxious going to parties and events. It's kind of that unknown aspect of what could happen at those events that makes me really anxious. The way I handle that typically is by knowing as much about where I'm going ahead of time. That really calms my mind down if I can just like mentally prepare for what I'm about to go into. And then also I've realized recently that it helps me a lot to know that if I'm uncomfortable there, I can just leave. There's no reason to suffer. If I don't like being where I am, I should get out of there. And that's not to say I shouldn't have gone, but if I go for a while, I've been there, I've done what I need to do, and I feel uncomfortable, I should just leave. That's fine. So I try to push myself, but I also like to know my limits and not stress myself out for no reason. Favorite queer book you donated to your hometown? I posted this on Twitter and Instagram the other day. I was actually put on the wall of excellence at my hometown, and I decided to give a section to the library in my old high school of queer literature. So a bunch of different queer books about queer topics. I gave so many books, so it's hard to pick just one, but the one that stands out is this book called The Velvet Rage. The Velvet Rage was one of the first queer memoirs I think I ever read. So it has this weird place in my heart as just some of the first LGBTQ plus literature that I consumed. I'll now use this moment to let you know that this video is sponsored by Audible. Audible is the leading provider of audiobooks with tons of different titles. I love to listen to audiobooks while I'm driving in the car because in Los Angeles, there is so much traffic. I also like to listen to audiobooks when I'm on planes because I travel quite a bit for work. They're a really good way to calm me down and also to learn something. So I think they're super cool. I think it's appropriate that I recommend to all of you that this month you should listen to The Velvet Rage by Alec Downs. It's a lovely queer book about Alec's story growing up, and I just think it's a great insight into LGBT lives, even if you're not an LGBT person yourself. It makes me appreciate my coming out story because it contrasts from his quite a bit. Right now, for a limited time, you can have 3 months on Audible for just $6.95 a month, and what's great about that is you can listen to 3 different titles per month, 1 audiobook and 2 Audible originals. If that sounds interesting to you, go to audible.com/Connor or text Connor to 500-500. If you don't want to listen to The Velvet Rage, they have plenty of other titles, so again, head on over to audible.com/Connor or text Connor to 500-500. Listen to a book. What's up with common culture nowadays? Common culture is good. I have too many ideas for it, and like many things that I get involved with, I get overwhelmed by kind of the potential or more what I would like to accomplish with what I'm doing. If you would really like me to put out some new clothing with common culture or some new products in general, let me know in the comments down below. The encouragement, it would be greatly appreciated. I have the ideas, I need to find the motivation. We do have a new website that isn't up yet, so I did get something done. What type of learning is the best for you? I'm quite the visual learner. It really helps for me to see things being done or to see things in practice, and then that allows me to be able to see myself doing those things. Does that make sense? It's so vague. When was the first time you ever had a real crush and what happened? It's funny because my answer would have been different for this even just like a couple years ago, but like my first real crushes were not recognized as crushes at the time because I was so closeted. I definitely had crushes on people growing up that I just thought I had a real connection with, and I made that out to be that we were really good friends. We were just really good friends. That's what I always made it out to be, but really I was just head over heels in love with them. I mean, the first time that I can really think of that was when I was probably in 8th or 9th grade maybe. But there were some when I was really young that, again, it was the same thing. It was like I was totally interested in this person and I made it out to be friendship, but it was clearly more than friendship. We're talking like 6, 7 years old. It's funny how young that kind of stuff can happen. Recommend another gay movie. I already watched Moonlight and Closet Monster and they're amazing. If you, let me think. I do love a lot of gay movies. If you haven't seen Carol, that's a great film, and obviously if you haven't seen Brokeback Mountain, that's also a lovely film. Both of them I watched for the first time within the last year, and they're just so nice. I think people give Brokeback Mountain shit for some reason, but it's such an amazing film. It is going to tear your heart out, so definitely watch that if you haven't seen it yet. Carol will do the same. Also, Carol is visually stunning. How did you transition from adolescence to adulthood and tackle being 100% independent? I've always been a really independent person. I don't know where that comes from, whether it's something that I was just born being or something that my parents taught me without me realizing it. But the way that I always saw it was that like independence was a game to me in a way, that the more independent I could be and the more skills I could learn, the more I like leveled up in life. So I always got a sick thrill at being independent and learning new things at a younger age. and being more distant from authoritative people in my life. Because I'm like, I don't need you. I already know how to do this by myself. Shoo. So yeah, try to not make it so scary. People always like have this negative connotation associated with independence or being independent for the first time, but it's a fun game. How do you sculpt the future to how you would like it to be? I think people worry too much about the future. I've only recently realized that you only have the ability to sculpt your present. So seriously, don't worry so much about what's coming and what's not here now. Worry about what's right in front of you, because that's all you have control over. Do you like horror films? Arguably my favorite genre of film. I love bad horror films. I love great horror films. I love thrilling horror films. I just love to be spooked. Are there any future marathons you're planning on running? I haven't signed up for any at the moment, but I do desperately want to. I'm so competitive that almost immediately when I finish my marathon, I'm like, I can do better than this. Let's sign up for the next one. So there's definitely gonna be one in the future. I'm thinking the London Marathon would be amazing. Have you ever found yourself rushing through life? Hell yeah. The other day, I had this sort of epiphany that so much of my life has gone by so quickly. I still feel like I'm an 18-year-old in some ways, but I'm 26. Like, I feel like I blinked by a certain part of my life and I haven't really sat down and thought about that, which I guess might be a good thing, because maybe I've been so busy and doing so many things that the time has truly just flown by. But it's also really terrifying to realize that those years are gone and you'll never get them back. So yes, I do feel like I'm rushing through life in a lot of ways. And again, don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Do you believe in life after death? The agnostic atheist within me says no, but then the effervescent optimist within me also says, that sounds great. I'm constantly battling with concepts like that, so I don't really know. How can I sleep better? Honestly, if you figure it out, let me know. I haven't slept well since I was like 13 years old, so no advice for you there. Please help me on this one. Your personal keys for a healthy lifestyle? I think the definition of healthy is completely individual. Doing things that make you healthy might not necessarily make me feel healthy, so for me, I know that whatever it is that I eat makes me feel good, so I always try to have a balanced, healthy diet. And then I also know that I love to exercise every single day, and if I don't exercise, I don't feel healthy. So those are kind of the main things that I do. Oh, also sleep. I try, I know I just said I can't sleep, but I try my best to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. So balancing all of that usually sets the rest of my life up for healthiness. But I definitely know that diet, exercise, and sleep are so important for me. How do you feel about open relationships? I know I'm such a jealous person and that would never work for me, but if you like that, go for it. If everyone involved is consenting and is aware, then go for it. No one's being hurt, so it's totally okay. But for me, I'm a jealous little hoe and I could not stand that. Fave brand right now? I really like Acne Studios. If you haven't looked at Acne Studio stuff, they have a beautiful color palette. Everything is beautifully minimal. It's a little bit pricey, so you can't really get much of it, but it's just so cute. And even if I can't buy it, I just love looking at it. Ugh. It's so good. It's so nice. I love clothes so much. I've been considering going vegetarian or just eating meat less. Advice for starting out? Cut it out slowly. I went quickly to being a pescatarian, but then I went slowly to being a vegetarian. And I think it helps just to naturally cut things out as you go. For breakfast, if you're having like eggs and bacon, just cut out the bacon, put a piece of toast next to it. It's really not that hard. You just need to start forming the habits as soon as you can. And good for you. I'm proud of you. Well done. I got ghosted. Any advice? If they ghosted you, they're not right for you, so just move on. Also, it happens to a lot of people, so don't think you're alone in getting ghosted. I think it's quite a normal thing for our generation to do, which is a little bit sad. But yeah, just move on. They're not worth it. Are there aliens? Yeah, probably. I mean, like, think how big the universe is. There's gotta be something out there, and if there isn't, we're damn lucky to be alive right now. When I think about how big the universe is, it sends me into crisis mode. Oh my god, it's so big. But there are definitely aliens out there, I guarantee it. Okay, that is it. I know this video was a little bit simple, but I hope you guys enjoyed the casual conversation. I really enjoyed it. I feel actually really great. I feel quite relieved and relaxed right now. And now I'm going to go tear up my body by going rock climbing with my friends Arden and Will. So let's just offset everything. If you did enjoy this video, please do click the like button, perhaps share it with a friend, subscribe for more content. If you want more content, go follow me on Twitter and Instagram. It's just at ConnorFranta. But then other than that, one other thing, I just want to let you guys know that a lot of you asked very similar questions. A lot of people seem to be struggling with loneliness and happiness and just where to go in life. So if that comforts you in some way, that everyone is a little bit lost, it kind of comforts me. There were a lot of questions like that. So just know that you're not alone, everyone's struggling, and that's okay. It's part of life. Okay, last bit of advice. I love you, you're doing great, I think you're amazing, and I'll see you next week.